Crowds froze in disbelief as police officers ruthlessly attacked a blind old man and his loyal canine service dog. Gasps echoed through the street, phones shot into the air, and voices cried out in shock. What could possibly drive law enforcement to turn on a defenseless veteran and his companion? What happened next would stun everyone watching and ignite a storm that would spread far beyond the city's borders. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And truly, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments below. I love seeing how far our stories travel. For William Carter, the city was a battlefield of a different kind. Once he had marched through deserts and jungles with a rifle in his hands and comrades by his side. Now at 72, he navigated crowded sidewalks in total darkness, relying on his service dog, Titan, a retired canine German Shepherd who had once served with distinction. Every gentle tug of Titan's harness was a lifeline. Stop at the curb, step forward, wait. The world was a blur of noise, car horns, rushing footsteps, conversations weaving through the streets, but Titan gave it order. To William, the dog wasn't just a guide, he was a partner, a fellow veteran who had traded danger for duty once more. People often stared, some with pity, some with curiosity. William had learned to ignore them. His dignity wasn't tied to what others saw, but to what Titan gave him: independent safety and a bond no one could break. That morning was meant to be just another walk. The air was warm, the hum of traffic steady. William tapped his cane lightly as Titan led him across a busy intersection. But halfway through, Titan froze, muscles tense, and William knew immediately something was wrong. Titan's body stiffened, his growl low and steady. William tightened his grip on the harness, instinctively trusting his partner. Then out of nowhere, the screech of tires cut through the air. Police cruisers skidded to a stop at the edge of the intersection, red and blue lights flashing across storefront windows. "On your knees," a harsh voice barked. William froze. His cane slipped from his trembling hand, clattering onto the pavement. Confused, he raised his hands, his voice shaking. "I'm blind. I can't see you. Please." But his words were drowned by the commanding shouts. Titan stepped forward, his body-coiled ears pinned back, standing firm between William and the approaching footsteps. To him, these weren't protectors, they were threats. "Get the dog down," another officer yelled, misreading Titan's protective stance as aggression. The crowd at the sidewalks began to murmur. A few raised their phones, recording. William knelt, fear gripping his chest, reaching desperately for Titan's fur. "Easy, boy. Easy." But the tension only grew thicker. The officers advanced as if facing a dangerous suspect, blind to the truth before them. What had begun as a simple morning walk was about to spiral into something unthinkable. The sharp command split the air. Two officers lunged forward. One shoved William hard, knocking the old man off balance. He stumbled, hitting the ground on his knees, his palms scraping the rough pavement. His cane lay useless beside him. Titan exploded with a furious bark, straining against his harness, his body a shield of muscle and loyalty. He didn't lunge, he didn't bite, but he made it clear no one would touch William without going through him. "Control your dog," an officer shouted, pressing closer. Another grabbed Titan's harness, yanking with brutal force, trying to pin the shepherd to the ground. Titan whined, twisting his head toward William, still fighting to stay at his master's side. William's voice cracked with desperation. "He's my eyes. Please don't hurt him." But the noise swallowed his plea. Sirens wailed, commands barked, and the crowd erupted. "He's blind," one woman screamed. "That's a service dog. Another man shouted, his phone raised high, capturing every second. Titan's yelps mixed with William's gasps, the scene twisting into a nightmare. The more the officers forced control, the clearer it became they weren't subduing a threat. They were attacking two veterans who had already given everything. The chaos reached a breaking point when a deep rumble shook the street. At first, people thought it was thunder rolling across the city. But then headlights cut through the haze, growing brighter, heavier, closer. Engines roared. A military convoy surged into view, armored vehicles crawling forward with precision. Tires crunched the pavement, red and blue police lights reflecting off the steel hulls. The crowd gasped, phones whipping around to record the sudden arrival. Soldiers in full gear dismounted, their boots striking the ground in perfect rhythm. The line they formed was deliberate, cutting straight through the flashing cruisers and shocked officers. In seconds, both ends of the street were sealed. "Stand down," a commanding voice thundered, sharp and absolute. The order sliced through the noise, leaving no room for argument. The police froze, their hands still on Titan's harness, eyes wide with disbelief. Slowly, they stepped back. Two soldiers rushed forward, lifting William gently from the ground. His hands shook as they searched for Titan. The shepherd whined, still straining, until a soldier freed him. Titan bolted back to William's side, pressing close, his body trembling but unbroken. The crowd erupted in cheers. Protection had finally arrived. The street fell silent except for the hum of engines and the faint crackle of radios. Soldiers formed a protective wall around William and Titan, their presence steady, unyielding. For the first time since the ordeal began, the blind veteran felt safe. A tall officer stepped forward, his voice carrying both authority and respect. "This man," he announced, pointing to William, "is Sergeant William Hayes, a decorated veteran who served with honor. And this dog, Titan, is no ordinary animal. He is a retired K9, a hero in his own right." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones streamed every word, comments pouring in across social media. People now understood the police hadn't just attacked an old man and his dog, they had assaulted two veterans who had already sacrificed everything for their country. Soldiers saluted William. Titan pressed close against his leg, his ears perked, his tail low but steady. The crowd broke into applause, some with tears streaming down their faces. The officers who had pinned them moments earlier stood frozen, stripped of authority in front of the world. In that instant, the truth became undeniable. Courage and loyalty had prevailed against injustice. News of the confrontation spread like wildfire. By nightfall, videos of William and Titan's ordeal had gone viral, replayed on television screens, and shared across every social platform. Headlines screamed of injustice: blind veteran and service dog assaulted by police. The public outcry was immediate and fierce. City officials scrambled to respond. The officers involved were placed on suspension pending investigation, but for many, that wasn't enough. Protesters filled the streets outside the precinct, holding signs that read, "Protect our veterans and justice for Titan." Calls poured into City Hall demanding accountability not only for William, but for every service animal and veteran across the nation. Meanwhile, William remained quiet in his small apartment, overwhelmed by the sudden spotlight. Titan lay at his side, ever watchful, his steady breathing a source of comfort. Though shaken, William found strength in the loyalty of his companion. Each time his hand rested on Titan's fur, he was reminded that even in darkness there was light. For the nation, their story became more than outrage. It became a rallying cry. Change was coming, and it started with an old soldier and his faithful K9. Weeks after the incident, the city square was filled with people once again, but this time not with outrage, with gratitude. A stage had been built near the courthouse, draped with American flags. At the center stood William Kane, in one hand, Titan's harness in the other. His sightless eyes couldn't see the cheering crowd, but he could feel the warmth of their voices, their respect washing over him. The mayor stepped forward, speaking into the microphone with steady pride. Today, we honor not only a veteran who gave his strength for our country, but also a K9 whose loyalty never faltered. He draped a medal around William's neck and fastened a shining tag to Titan's collar. The crowd erupted into applause, many with tears in their eyes. William cleared his throat, his voice unsteady but strong. "I didn't ask for any of this," he said softly. "But I hope what happened reminds us all respect is owed not just to those who serve in uniform, but also to the partners who walk beside us. Heroes don't always carry weapons. Sometimes they just wear fur." Titan barked once, a deep, steady sound, and the crowd rose to their feet. One of the most powerful lessons from this story is that true courage often shows itself in unexpected ways. William and Titan remind us that strength is not only found on the battlefield or in moments of glory, but also in everyday loyalty, resilience, and quiet dignity. The injustice they faced highlights how quickly people can judge without understanding and how dangerous that can be. Yet the way the community rallied afterward proves that awareness and compassion can turn outrage into positive change. In our own lives, this teaches us to pause before judging others, to stand up when we see wrongdoing, and to value loyalty and kindness as much as bravery. Whether it's respecting veterans, supporting service animals, or simply helping someone who is vulnerable, small actions can leave lasting impacts. True heroes, human or canine, remind us that dignity and respect are responsibilities we all share.